way to apply for your mortgage. All you need to do is download the app and follow these simple steps. Step 1. Fill in your information. Step 2. Take a snapshot of all the necessary documents and upload it via the app. Step 3. Submit your application. And you're done. You can check the status of your application directly on the app. Once everything is approved, we'll get in touch with you to give you the good news.
Wow! I never knew that applying for a mortgage would be so simple and easy.
RHB My Home app. Download yours today.
Taking the elevator, going up. I got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with this good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up, I'm coming up. The good life.
Dunia aku bakal berubah. Aku sentiasa rasa dihargai. Bukan mudah mencari sahabat sejati. Masa aku bersama kau, setiap gelak tawa, saat-saat kita bergembira adalah kenangan paling berharga buatku. Tapi hari itu takdir aku berubah. Walau aku tak mampu lagi mendengar, kau sentiasa di sisiku. Aku tak tahu apa di depan, tapi kau tunjukkan apa pun cabaran, adanya melodi harapan.
Yang ku rasakan telah tiada, kau kembalikannya kepadaku. Bahasa yang sukar ditutur kata, kau cahaya yang menerangi duniaku. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna.
Honey, I think I've made up my mind.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so excited! When can we move in?
Oh, not so soon, honey. We need to apply for a mortgage first.
Right. We need to go to the bank.
Wait, there's no need to go to the bank for that. We can apply using the RHB My Home app.
RHB My Home app, the convenient way to apply for your mortgage. All you need to do is download the app and follow these simple steps. Step 1. Fill in your information. Step 2. Take a snapshot of all the necessary documents and upload it via the app. Step 3. Submit your application. And you're done. You can check the status of your application directly on the app. Once everything is approved, we'll get in touch with you to give you the good news.
Wow! I never knew that applying for a mortgage would be so simple and easy.
RHB My Home app. Download yours today.
Ooh, taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up. I'm coming up. The good life.
Dunia aku bakal berubah. Aku sentiasa rasa dihargai. Bukan mudah mencari sahabat sejati. Masa aku bersama kau, setiap gelak tawa, saat-saat kita bergembira adalah kenangan paling berharga buatku. Tapi hari itu takdir aku berubah. Walau aku tak mampu lagi mendengar, kau sentiasa di sisiku. Aku tak tahu apa di depan, tapi kau tunjukkan apa pun cabaran, adanya melodi harapan.
Yang ku rasakan telah tiada, kau kembalikannya kepadaku. Bahasa yang sukar ditutur kata, kau cahaya yang menerangi duniaku. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna.
Honey, I think I've made up my mind.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so excited! When can we move in?
Oh, not so soon, honey. We need to apply for a mortgage first.
Right. We need to go to the bank.
Wait, there's no need to go to the bank for that. We can apply using the RHB My Home app.
RHB My Home app, the convenient way to apply for your mortgage. All you need to do is download the app and follow these simple steps. Step 1. Fill in your information. Step 2. Take a snapshot of all the necessary documents and upload it via the app. Step 3. Submit your application. And you're done. You can check the status of your application directly on the app. Once everything is approved, we'll get in touch with you to give you the good news.
Wow! I never knew that applying for a mortgage would be so simple and easy.
RHB My Home app. Download yours today.
Ooh, taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top and keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up. I'm coming up. The good life.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ahmad Badri Muhammad Zahir, the Chairman of the Board of Directors of RHB Bank Berhad. And on behalf of the Board, I welcome all of you to the 55th Annual General Meeting of the RHB Bank. This is our second fully virtual AGM held live from the broadcast venue at the meeting room 3 of the RHB Centre. This year's AGM is convened in a fully virtual manner to safeguard the well-being of members, to safeguard the well-being of directors and employees of the companies due to the COVID-19 pandemic that is still affecting all of us. The convening of this virtual meeting is in compliance with the Section 327 of the Companies Act 2016, which stipulate that the chairman shall be at the main venue of the AGM, and also in accordance with the Clause 15 of the company's constitution, which allows the AGM to be held at more than one venue using any instantaneous telecommunication device that allows members to participate in a meeting. This virtual meeting is also convened in accordance with the Security Commission Malaysia's guidance and frequently asked questions on the conduct of general meeting for listed issuer. Before we proceed any further, I now call upon the Company Secretary to confirm whether we have a quorum to proceed with today's meeting.
Thank you, Tan Sri Chairman. Directors, members of RHB Bank, I am pleased to inform the meeting that based on the registration data given by Boardroom Share Registrar Sdn Berhad, our company share registrar, as at 10 a.m. On 23rd of May, a total of 887 members and or proxy for a total of 2.62 billion shares, representing approximately 65.46% of the total shareholdings of RHB Bank, have registered through the remote participation and electronic voting facility for attendance at today's AGM. Hence, pursuant to Clause 56 of the company's constitution, 2 members present in person or by proxy or corporate representative shall constitute a quorum for the general meeting. Therefore, Chairman, I'm pleased to confirm that we have a quorum to proceed with today's AGM. Chairman.
Thank you, Company Secretary. As the Company Secretary has confirmed that we have the requisite quorum, I therefore declare the meeting duly constituted. Due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and the need to ensure compliance with social distancing requirements, we have limited the number of persons present at the board venue to essential individual only. Here at the board venue, on my right is Yang Berbahagia Datuk Khairul Saleh Ramli, the Group MD of the RHB Banking Group, and on my left is the Company Secretary Encik Azman Shah Mat Yaman. We have the remaining directors participating remotely in this meeting. You can see them, what you call on the slide, that was highlighted to you. And they are Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Dr. Rabika Fatimah Stamaria, the Senior Independent Non-Executive Director. Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Ong Leong Huat alias Wong Jo Hua, Miss Ong Aileen, Mr. Lim Chen Tek, Puan Syarifatul Laila Said Ali, Yang Berbahagia Datuk Muhammad Nasir Abdul Latif, Mr. Tonal Joshua Jagannathan, and Yang Berbahagia Datuk Ian John Low. Also present at this broadcast venue are the representatives from our external auditor, Messrs. Pricewaterhousecoopers PLC, our share registrar and pool administrator, i.e. boardroom share registrar, and our scrutineers, Mrs. KPMG PLT. Before I proceed any further, on behalf of the board, I would like to take this opportunity to record my appreciation to Tan Sri Azlan Zainal, the previous chairman of the company, who had left the group effective 28 February 2021, following 16 years of service since he joined the group in 2005. He has steered the group with discipline and commitment, and over the course of his tenure, the group has achieved many significant milestones while generating solid return for our shareholders. The board recognizes his great contribution to the company over the past years and wishes him all the best in his journey ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, The notice of the 55th AGM dated 27 April 2021 was circulated to you over and above the required statutory notice period. I'm sure that all of you have read the notice, and with your permission, I shall take the notice as read. Ladies and gentlemen, pursuant to paragraph 8.29A of the main market listing requirement of Bursa Malaysia Security Berhad, RHB Bank Berhad, being a listed issuer, must ensure that the voting of each resolution set out in the notice for this meeting are conducted by way of electronic polling or e-polling. In this regard, I would like to exercise my right as the chairman of the meeting to demand for a poll in accordance with Clause 60 of the Company Constitution in respect of all the resolutions which will be put to vote at this meeting. The company has appointed Boardroom Share Registrar as the pool administrator to conduct the voting by way of e-polling, and Messrs. KPMG PLT as scrutineers to verify and validate the poll result. Next, a video presentation of the e-polling process shall be played for your benefit.
Dear shareholders, thank you for your participation at today's virtual meeting. On this virtual meeting platform, you will be able to view the live broadcast of the meeting proceedings, pose questions to the Board of Directors, and submit your votes in real time while the meeting is in progress. To view the live broadcast of the meeting, please click this broadcast icon. If you are participating in this meeting via a laptop or desktop, the live broadcast panel can be viewed side by side with the voting panel. To maximize the broadcast panel, please click here. Audio of the live broadcast will continue to play in the background, even during the voting process or when the broadcast panel is being minimized. Do adjust the volume control on your device for optimum audio output. Please click this arrow to return to the main meeting screen. You can minimize the broadcast panel by clicking this broadcast icon again. Should you encounter any issues with the broadcast view, please refresh the page by clicking this refresh icon. If you have any questions for the Board of Directors, you may raise them at any time before or during the meeting. To do so, please click on this messaging icon. Type your question within the chat box and click on this arrow to submit your question. A message will appear that your question has been received. To return to the main meeting screen, click on this icon. To view the resolutions for this meeting and submit your votes, please click on this voting icon. Once the voting has opened, the resolutions and voting options will be displayed. To vote, please select one of the available options, for or against. A confirmation message will appear to indicate that your vote has been received. To change your vote, please click on the other option. A confirmation message will appear to indicate that your new voting direction has been received. If you wish to cancel your vote, please click on Cancel. You may change your voting direction at any time before the chairman closes the voting session. Once the chairman announces that the voting session is closed, you will not be able to change your voting direction anymore. You may click on the broadcast icon to return to the live broadcast screen for the announcement of voting results. Should you require any assistance during the virtual meeting, please call Boardroom's help desk at 603-7890-4700 or email us at bsr.helpdesk@boardroomlimited.com. Thank you and have a pleasant day.
Ladies and gentlemen, the voting session is now open. Members may start registering their vote electronically until the conclusion of such session, which will be announced later. Before I proceed with the agenda of the day, I would like to take this opportunity to call upon the Group MD, Datuk Karusaleh Ramli, to give a presentation on the financial performance highlight of the Group, as well as the proposed Dividend Reinvestment Plan, or DRP, under Special Business.
Thank you, Tan Sri Chairman. Valued shareholders, Tan Sri Chairman, fellow directors, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum. Very good morning. I will cover my presentation under these 7 agenda items. And if I move on key highlights, we achieved a net profit of 2.03 billion ringgit in the financial year 2020. This is an 18.1% decline from the previous year for 2 main reasons. One was the net modification loss arising from the moratorium that we accorded to our borrowers. And second is the higher provisions that we made, which included preemptive ones for COVID-19 impact. Our return on equity was at 7.7%. If we normalize for the net modification loss, our ROE stood at about 8.3%. Nevertheless, our fundamentals remain sound. We have strong capital, ample liquidity level, and our loan loss coverage is now well above 100%. The board has proposed a final dividend of 7.65 cents per share, subject to the Dividend Reinvestment Plan, or DRP, that will be voted on by the shareholders later. And together with the interim dividend, our full year 2020 dividend amounts to 17.65 cents per share, with a payout ratio of 34.8%. We continue to provide support to our borrowers, especially those that are affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, through the various repayment assistance programs. And so far, we've got about 25.5 billion ringgit of portfolio of our borrowers that are under repayment assistance so far, and that accounts to about 15% of our group's total domestic loans and portfolio financing. Other highlights I would also like to mention. One is, as you know, we've got our Fit 22 strategy. Given the pandemic, we have reprioritized some of the initiatives. Some of them would include, we want to accelerate digitalization of customer journeys and IT modernization plan. We are also transforming our credit risk management with the objectives of trying to boost turnaround time, improve credit quality, and even utilizing analytics to enhance our loans growth. And last but not least, we have also set forth a plan to upskill our employees to be future ready. And with regards to ESG, we continue to integrate these practices into our business and operations, such as enhancing our risk management policies and exploring business opportunities that support the country's transition to a low-carbon economy. We have also improved some other metrics that I would like to highlight here. One is in relation to our employee engagement. We have improved our EES, as we call it, to 92% last year, compared to 90%. And this has surpassed the achievement by the Malaysian Financial Institution score of 89%. We have improved customer satisfaction. Our Net Promoter Score is higher now at +11, compared to +9 in 2019. We have also strengthened our brand value. We backed the Gold Putra Brand Award for banking, investment, and insurance last year, compared to silver in 2019. And we were also placed in the top 5 for Excellent Award for Corporate Governance Disclosure under MSWG ASEAN Corporate Governance Awards 2019, and Industry Excellence Awards being top 3 in the financial services sector. Now, let me just cover a bit of detail in our financial performance. I did mention earlier that our profit was impacted by the higher credit losses and the net modification loss, despite income growth. Our income grew 1.8%, backed by net fund-based income growth of 6.3% and a non-fund-based income growth of 11.2%. But the modification loss that we had to register, arising from us assisting borrowers, amounted to 420 million ringgit last year. And of course, that was the first time that we had to do that before. However, we were able to control our expenses. Our expenses remain unchanged year on year. And with that, we recorded an operating profit before allowances of 3.5% higher to 3.8 billion ringgit. And the big jump was in our loans and securities loss provision of 1.15 billion ringgit, which is about 3 times higher than the previous year. As I mentioned, our preemptive measure to cater to any COVID-19 impact, including for this year. And this is just an illustration quickly on our net fund-based income. We grew 6.3%. Our fund-based income declined by 10.7%, especially because of the reduction in OPR rates. OPR rates came down by 125 basis points last year, but our interest expense came down much faster. Our interest expense came down by 24%, and that resulted in a net interest income increase of 6.3%. Our fund-based income, our non-fund-based income grew quite well, actually, to 11.2%, supported mainly by a huge increase in brokerage income, wealth management income, and also treasury-related income, given the reduction in yield, and we were able to monetize on our bond portfolio pretty much last year. I did mention that our costs pretty much remain unchanged, and because of that, our cost-to-income ratio further improved to 47.1% last year from 48%. And if you were to exclude the impact of net modification loss, our cost-to-income would be even lower at 45.6%. Our gross loans grew 5.6%, and this was led by growth in mortgage, auto finance, SME, and Singapore. One thing that I wish to highlight here is that we have been able to progressively rebalance our portfolio with a much higher retail and SME composition. Back in 2015, SME and retail constituted only 58% of our total loan portfolio. As at end of last year, this has now gone to 66%, and this was a conscious decision to increase the retail and SME portfolio for better stability in our income. Our deposits grew 6.8% year on year, and this was led by CASA growth of 28.3%, and our Casa Ratio has improved further to 30.9%. We all know that we had a higher credit charge ratio last year as we set aside provisions for potential COVID-19 impact, but our gross impact loans ratio was under control, and this was also helped by the R&R dispensation from Bank Negara, not having to impair these R&R loans. And our loan loss coverage, as I said, is well above 100% now. And this is the first time for the group compared to 85% back in 2019. And our fundamentals have improved steadily. Of course, we were affected on profitability last year because of COVID-19. But if you look at cost to income, our loan loss coverage, our capital ratios, those have all steadily increased over the last 5 years or so. And the board, as I mentioned, has proposed a final cash dividend of 7.65%, and this will be subject to DRP, and the total dividend payout last year would be about 35%. I would just want to highlight a bit on our strategy update. As I mentioned, we have got a strategy of Fit 22. We are making steady progress across most metrics. Some, of course, are affected by the pandemic, but with respect to growing affluent, growing SME, increasing penetration into mid-cap, boosting retail deposits, these are all showing good traction in terms of increasing the number of customers, increasing the penetration rate, and increasing the number of transactions as well. One thing to note is the progress on our digital analytics. For example, we launched our RHB My Home app about 3 years ago. Now, this is for mortgage loans, and as at end of last year, 40% of all mortgage applications now goes through this mortgage app. We have implemented Agile at scale in the group, and we are going across the group to make sure that we flip the right entities. So far, we have got about 4,300 staff that are working under Agile. We are also active on the sustainability front. We introduced a group and formalized our group sustainability framework back in 2019. along three key pillars: sustainable and responsible banking, embedding good practices, and enriching and empowering communities. On the first one, we have committed to register a 5 billion ringgit green financing commitment by 2025. So far, we have done 3.1 billion ringgit as at end of last year, and 16.8% of this is for renewable energy projects. We have targeted to do another 500 million ringgit this year. We have identified ESG sensitive sectors and also industry-specific ESG risk assessment. Under embedding good practices, we have established operational greenhouse gas emissions inventory based on the GHG protocol, corporate accounting and reporting standard. And we actually achieved a 38% decrease in the group's operational GHG emissions last year compared to 2016 baseline. On the community front, we invested about 4.4 million ringgit last year, benefiting more than 20,000 underprivileged community members. And out of this 4.4, 3 million ringgit was contributed to various communities, including the frontliners, to mitigate the effects of COVID-19. And this year, we intend to roll out this framework across the regional operations in the group. We will strengthen our ESG risk management policies. We will develop our climate-related risk management in line with Bank Negara climate change and principle-based taxonomy. And from then, we will develop a multi-year roadmap to adopt recommendations of the Task Force on Climate-related Financial Disclosures. I mentioned about we planning to achieve 100 million ringgit in lending, investment, and capital market activities for eligible green activities. And we will be also an active player in sustainable SRI ESG funds. We have launched 3 ESG funds to date in Malaysia. In fact, the total AUM is quite encouraging. It has registered about now more than about 900 million ringgit as we speak. And we target to launch not one, but another 2 by end of this year. We will continue to help community rebound post-COVID-19 and to nurture underprivileged B40 children and youth through our academic excellence and scholarship program. On our repayment assistance, I just want to point out a few things here. I did mention that a total of 25.5 billion ringgit of our loan portfolio is under repayment assistance. That's about 15% of our total domestic portfolio as at end of March 2021. And if you look at the table in the middle, under retail, for example, 65% of those that were under repayment assistance were accorded deferment of monthly installments, whilst 28% were accorded reduction in monthly installments. We have also been active in providing relief funds for the SME, totaling about 2.6 billion ringgit, benefiting more than 4,200 SMEs as at end of March 2021. Now, let me move on to a dividend reinvestment plan. We have 2 resolutions, ordinary resolutions today with respect to dividend reinvestment plan. This is the first time that we are putting this in place at RHB Bank, though we have had this before under RHB Capital. So first, we plan to establish a DRP to provide shareholders with an option to elect to reinvest their cash dividend in new RHB Bank shares. Why we want to do this? From the bank perspective, this will provide us with the flexibility in managing and strengthening our capital position. From the shareholders' perspective, we want to provide shareholders with an opportunity to enhance the value of your shareholdings in RHB Bank and provide you with the flexibility to meet your investment objectives, as you would have the option of receiving dividend in cash or reinvesting in our shares without having to incur any brokerage fee or other related transaction costs, except for the stamp fee. We also want to improve trading liquidity potentially through the issuance of DRP shares. There are 3 options available for shareholders under DRP. Option 1, reinvest the entire electable portion of the issue price of the DRP shares. Option 2, reinvest part of the electable portion and receive the balance in cash. under option 1 or option 2, shareholders must take some action in terms of completing the form and returning the form to our share registrar. Option 3, elect not to participate in the reinvestment option, and hence you will receive the entire dividend entitlement in cash. So in this option, you don't have to take any action at all. So the issue price under our circular, and subject to shareholders' approval later, we will fix a price of not more than 10% discount to the 5-day volume weighted average market price of RHB Bank shares. Our DRP, again subject to shareholders' approval today, the issue price will be fixed by the end of today. That we have a board meeting later, and the board will approve the issue price at the end of today, and we'll make the requisite announcement to you. All shareholders eligible, but for overseas shareholders who wish to participate in the DRP, you will need to provide your local address in Malaysia to the share registrar, not later than 5 market days before the entitlement date. Fractional shares will be paid in cash, and the board of directors will have the mandate to suspend or terminate at any time from time to time the proposed DRP if deemed necessary. This is a timeline with regards to our DRP plan. At least the final dividend that we are proposing, subject to shareholders' approval today. Once the shareholders approve, we will announce the issue price and entitlement date by the end of the day today. Our entitlement date targeted to be on the 10th of June this year, and the expiry date for returning all the forms will be by the 20th of June, so just about 3 weeks. And we plan to issue and allot the DRP shares to those shareholders that elect for the shares by the 8th of July, and the next day we will list the DRP shares on Bursa. So that's pretty much the background of our DRP. Now my last slide, shareholders. First is, despite the challenges brought about by COVID-19 pandemic, we have continued to be adaptive in terms of our approach to business, resilient in our performance, and supportive to all our stakeholders, such as borrowers and the community. Our key priorities are to ensure business continues, the health and safety of our employees are taken care of, and the well-being and sustainability of our customers as we pursue opportunities for business growth are also taken care of. Our prudent risk management practice, sound fundamentals, and clear strategy have put us in good stead to steer through the uncertain and challenging outlook and working under the new norm. We will continue to extend targeted repayment assistance to our customers that need them, and we will lend a helping hand to communities that in need of our support. Last but not least, we wish to thank you, shareholders, for your faith and trust in RHB Bank. That is pretty much my presentation on the performance and DRP, and of course concluding remark. I would also like to, Chairman, if I may, go to the next agenda with respect to responding to the set of questions that has been raised to us by the Minority Shareholders Watchdog Group, MSWG. We received these questions on the 18th of May. We have responded to them on yesterday, and as customary in previous AGMs, we will address the questions in the AGM itself, if I may. I think there are, if I'm not mistaken, 8 questions from MSWG. The first one is in relation to our allowance for credit losses. I think the long and short of the question is in line with the bank guidance of worsening asset quality this year. Will the bank's allowance for impairment on loan losses increase significantly in 2021? Our answer to that is, of course, we remain prudent in our credit risk management. To prepare for the potential deterioration of asset quality last year, we actually accelerated our provisions we clocked in 58 basis point in credit charge, in line with our conservative stance. This year, we do expect gradual economic recovery, but again, that is pretty much dependent on the pandemic containment measures and the pace of vaccination efforts. And in view of the economic recovery that we expect, we anticipate our credit charge ratio to remain elevated, but lower than last year. And we believe that this will come in between 30 basis point and 40 basis point this year. One thing I want to highlight again is our loan loss coverage has improved significantly, and it is at comfortable level now of close to 120% of our impaired loans, compared to only 85% in the previous year. The second question is basically on the repayment assistance. So the question A is how much of the repayment assistance where borrowers have resumed payment. So we have got largely three classes of borrowers. One is retail. As at end of March, 65% of our borrowers have resumed payment. Now, we may still have the balance of 35%, but that's not worrying, because bulk of this is basically under deferment scheme. That means that the entire repayment installments are not required to be paid during this period, right? And hence, no repayment. But they will start repaying when this repayment holiday expires. For the SME, we will base it on the R&R that we have done and approved. So based on the R&R that we have done of about 3 billion ringgit, 96% of our SME borrowers have resumed payment as at end of March. Now, what is the size of loan that is still under extended relief measure? I believe I have already explained this in my presentation earlier, so I will not repeat this. Has the bank seen improvement in collection under the extended relief measure? I have just explained that as well, so I shall not repeat that. Is there an increased default risk for loans involved in the TPA? Similarly, I have explained that. However, we are mindful that recently COVID-19 cases have surged again with the imposition of 3.0. So we remaining cautious in our credit risk management. But so far so good. We are seeing our borrowers, largely going back to observing their repayment requirement, such as those before the moratorium. Is there a need for provision of loans? We are guided by the requirement of Bank Negara on provisioning, and we believe we have adequately provided for our expected credit losses on loans and financing. We are quite comfortable in terms of loan loss coverage, but we will continue to be prudent in our provisions if it is necessary. Question number 3, what is the size of loans to vulnerable sectors such as retail and hospitality? So we identify vulnerable sectors that are, tourism, hospitality, and retail trade to be vulnerable. Our group exposure to this sector is about 8% of total loans outstanding, and for the non-retail exposure is about 6.2%, and retail at 1.7%. Question number 4, Casa Ratio has increased to 30.9%. The question is this increase sustainable? We think that there will still be growth, but not as strong as last year. What has happened is that when people, they save money, basically, consumers save money in this period, they are not able to spend on other things, or they are a bit more conservative in saving. There's also been some benefit to most banks from the I-Lestari last year, and of course this year from ICNAR. But we do think when the economy starts to improve, when consumer spending starts to come back, the CASA growth will taper off, right? Not as strong as last year. The other question is that with the strong CASA growth, do you expect to better net interest margin this year? We do expect a better net interest margin this year, not just necessarily from CASA growth, but from the full repricing of our deposits, particularly fixed deposit, following the reduction of OPR over the last 1.5 years or so, recently. Question number 5, RHB has integrated the management of international business as one country model. I think there's just some misunderstanding about what one country model means. What we mean here is that it is still within that one country. Whilst we have presence in 8 countries in Southeast Asia, we have no intention of managing them as one country. What we meant was that each country of these 8 countries, we want to manage them as one country because in many countries we have got more than one business. So for example, in Thailand, we have got both commercial bank and we have got both securities and investment bank. When we say one country, we want to manage these 2 businesses as one, in Thailand as one country. Page 6 is question 6 is execution of FIT 22 strategy has reached its halfway mark. How has the bank performed based on KPI set in the blueprint? As I mentioned in my presentation, we have actually made good progress. We have achieved consistent improvement in our ROE and cost-to-income ratio. Of course, our ROE was affected last year because of the pandemic. We have set a target of ROE of 11.5% by 2022. We think that that is at high risk, especially due to the impact of COVID-19. We've got improvement in all the business areas, as I mentioned. I shall not repeat them in this letter, compared to what I have mentioned earlier. Question 7 is with respect to ESG. The question was under our ESG risk assessment tool, what are the criteria that we look at? What will be the actions taken on existing and new clients who are unable to pass the assessment? So the long and short of it, I've got 2 sets of criteria, general ERA, and this is applicable to all our customers. And then we have got specific ERA, and this will be dedicated to specific sectors, namely palm oil, oil and gas, manufacturing of iron, steel and other metals, and they are peculiar to each sector. So we do a rating based on these 2 criteria. With that, then we'll come up with whether the borrower is at low risk, medium risk, or high risk, right? And then, we will start engaging with our customers, especially those that are in the high risk, with respect to what sort of actions they plan to take to minimize their risk under ESG. That's how, in a nutshell, we manage our borrowers with respect to ESG risk management. This is the last question from SWG and the corporate governance. So they picked up in our report, there were 12 complaints pursuant to our whistleblowing policy. So they would like to know what the complaints related to. How have all the complaints been resolved, right? So all these complaints were received and investigated, and appropriate actions have been taken. We manage this whistleblowing policy through the Board Audit Committee. In fact, Board Audit Committee supervises all whistleblowing matters attended by the Group Integrity and Governance Division. And out of the 12, basically the complaints or the allegations involve staff misconduct, corrupt practice, and unfair treatment of staff. Out of the 12, we have actually taken disciplinary actions on 6 cases. And disciplinary action would be in terms of including issuance of warning letter, deferment of increment, demotion, and even dismissal. There were some cases that we just gave verbal warning and even coaching to our staff, right, not to repeat this. For the other 6 cases, there were no further action because the allegations were unfounded. Chairman, that's all the questions and the presentation and questions I would like to address at this point. Back to you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Dato' Saleh. I shall now start the question and answer session with members. We have received questions from the shareholders through various mediums. Once again, I will invite Dato' Saleh to address the question.
Thanks, Chairman. Let me first address the questions that we received before this AGM. And then I will go to the questions that we received during this AGM. So the first one, with respect to, we will see it on the screen shortly. This is with respect to door gifts for the AGM. Yeah, we actually received 8 questions from 7 shareholders with respect to gift, and the questions revolve around whether there is a gift, can we give e-voucher, can we give, is there an alternate way of distributing door gifts to our shareholders? We have received this last year before, but we will not be providing any gifts to our shareholders who participate remotely in this virtual 55th AGM this year. If I move on to the next page, this is with respect to directors meeting allowance. So there was a question whether directors attending this virtual AGM are being paid meeting allowances. No, and this applies to not only virtual AGM, it also applies to any AGM. We don't pay our directors any allowance for attending general meetings of shareholders. Next. The question is, what is the cost saving for conducting virtual AGM compared to last year virtual AGM and previous year's physical AGM? This is from Mr. Lim Keng Ju. We incur about 90,000 ringgit for virtual AGM, primarily because of the system that we need to rent from service providers. When we do physical AGM, it would cost us about 400,000 ringgit. Yeah, so there is a significant difference between a virtual AGM and a physical AGM. Next is on external auditor. We received this from PNB. First is there was a big increase in non-audit fee work done by our statutory auditors. So the reason, they want to know the reason, and do we expect this to remain elevated? The increase was because of one-off work. We had to appoint PwC for the cessation of our business in Hong Kong. We also appointed them for some for investigation work. We appointed them for MFRS 17 review at our insurance, and we also, did some work on business continuity that we also appointed PwC for. So we don't expect our non-audit fee to increase. In fact, we also have, we're quite strict with this. Currently, we have a policy of 75% non-audit fee work from our statutory auditors. But we are reviewing this to make it even stricter. Question number 2 is Mr. Suhu, who is currently the engagement partner, has served the bank for 5 years. So under Bank Negara requirement, no one can serve more than 5 years. So who will be replacing Mr. Suhu? Next, yes, we are aware of this requirement. We are aware of the 5-year maturity that will end. So PwC will be assigning Mr. Kelvin Lee from PwC to become the signing and engagement partner from this financial year onwards. Right? Kelvin is not alien to RHB. He has been involved in the audit work for RHB for the past few years. Next, authority for directors to issue shares. So one of the resolutions that we're asking from the shareholders today is the mandate to approve up to 10% of our issued and paid up issued shares under Section 75 and 76 of Companies Act. So the question is, what type of corporate exercises are we focusing on? Can we provide some example? At this point, there's nothing on the table that will require us to, to issue shares under this resolution. Of course, we remain open, and the idea is to be swift when there is an opportunity such as this, right? It can be from any type of business. Question B is, do we need this to also bolster our capital in stress scenario? No. Our capital is very strong, and we don't need this avenue for this purpose, i.e. to bolster our capital. Next. Right. There was another question with respect to the resignation of our former director, Datuk Sri Govindan, in October last year, and whether does the board plan to appoint a new director to fill the vacancy. Our response is that we have been quite dynamic in managing board composition. We look at the balance, we look at the dynamism, and we look at diversity as well. And we look at the tenure that the board members have been on the board. We look at the mix of skills and independence of these directors. Last year alone, there were 3 directors that retired, including Datuk Sri Govind, but we also appointed 4 new directors, including our chairman. And again, this is part of our succession planning that we have put in place for the appointment of directors, not just at the bank level, but the group level as well. Datuk Sri Govind, whilst he has retired from the bank, he is now a director of our RHB Investment Bank. We have appointed him to be on that board, given his experience as the group CEO of RAM Holdings. As you know, RAM is in the rating business and pretty much in tune with the investment banking business. Next question. This is with respect to analytics. What is our target in terms of revenue uplift from analytics? We plan to, triple, if we can, our revenue from analytics. The benchmark globally is analytics contributes about 10 to 15% of the group revenue. We are still small. We're only about 2-3%. So we think that there's room for us, and we've put in place, an organization to help us with the analytics initiative across the group. Question B is how much have we spent on digital since the launch of Fit22? When we embarked on Fit22, we allocated an investment budget of about 200 million ringgit for digital investment. And as at the end of last year, we have actually spent or committed 60% of this 200 million ringgit or 120 million ringgit. Can we move on, please? The next question is on ROE. Given that we are putting in place a DRP program, right, do we expect ROE to be further diluted, given that we have to issue new shares? DRP, I must say, is a program. Yes, we have requested the board, the shareholders to approve for our final dividend as well, but it is not necessarily going to be implemented every time we pay dividend, right? Only as and when necessary. And even for the final dividend that we're proposing for DRP, we believe that the dilution is going to be minimal. Next. This is on our capital ratio. Will the bank consider increasing dividend payout compared to our 5-year average of 36%? Indeed, if you look at our 5-year dividend payment, it has been on an upward trend, but we have still maintained our dividend policy of minimum 30%. So whilst we will continue to maintain our dividend policy, where possible, we will try to increase dividend payout. Of course, during this challenging period, we need to be mindful about also conserving capital for stress situation. Question B is, does RHB have any plans to raise dividend policy? As I said, we will maintain that minimum 30%. Question C, can you provide more clarity in respect of effective cash dividend payout? Yeah. How we will impact our CET1, right? Now, effective cash payout basically is, we will announce dividend, but we will allow shareholders to reinvest in the RP, and there will then be only a certain amount of cash, excluding the money that will come back to the company from the DRP. And that is what we meant by effective cash dividend payout. In general, for 100 million ringgit of effective cash payout, the impact on capital ratio is around 8 to 10 basis points. Yeah. Next. This is on group capital management framework. The question is that, does RHB have an internal capital allocation framework? Yes, we do. We treat capital as, as valuable, and capital is not free, we tell our businesses, right? And we do this via what we call RAROC, risk-adjusted return on capital, that eventually will all filter up to the group return on equity, right? And that's how we determine the allocation of capital. We look at the hurdle rate, we look at our expected return, and then we ask our business to then target towards the expected return. Each business will have a different target for a return on capital, right? Given the various risk-weighted asset for each business and the risk profile of each business. Moving on. This is on strategy from Mr. Lee Wai Fong first. What is our view of the incoming digital bank? Will it be a threat to RHB core earning in the next 3 to 5 years' time? The long and short answer to the second question is no. We don't expect this to be a threat because simply the segments that these digital banks are supposed to deal with. It's supposed to cater to the underserved segment and also the micro enterprise. These segments are not the segments that banks do business much anyway. We view this complementary because we need the industry needs banks to cater to this requirement for the underserved and the micro enterprises. So very much so during this foundational period of about 5 years before they can, if they can, move into other segments of the business. From Mr. Chi Chai Wai, what is RHB's plan in view of the oncoming digital bank? In view that Bank Negara is only allocating 5. We are actually seriously considering our options now, whether we should apply for one or not, from 2 angles. One is about being able to enter into a new segment of business, which I said, the undersegment, the underserved, as well as the micro enterprise. And secondly, is also potentially about hedging our bet in case these digital banks can go into the bank's business segments once the foundational period has expired, right? So we are evaluating this seriously, and of course we are looking at our options as well. From PNB is group international business. There was a pre-tax loss due to Thailand and Laos and lower profitability in Cambodia. So can you give us more color on the performance? Indeed, our international footprints were not spared from COVID-19 last year. Thailand, Laos, Cambodia included. But having said that, the way that we manage our overseas business is we have got footprints where we have got the corporate banking and investment banking. That's where we want to manage this as one, so that we can harness the synergy. We are looking at niche area. We know that we can't compete in all segments overseas. We are not as big and as strong overseas compared to where we are in Malaysia. So we will choose and pick the segments that we believe we have a good chance of doing business and gaining profitability. Moving on. We have ceased Hong Kong operation and disposed RHB Securities Singapore. So the question is, will RHB continue to divest its international business that are loss-making and operating with challenging environment? When we look at our businesses, right, not just overseas, we look at them from 2 perspectives. One is the outlook and revenue pool that potentially we can get. Secondly is the competency and the competitiveness that we can bring about to that particular business. If the answer to both is no, of course, it doesn't make sense for us to do business in those areas. So that is a general principle that we adopt. Does RHB have any plan to expand into overseas markets? We will just grow our footprint organically overseas. We're still holding firm to our Fit 22 strategy of strengthening Malaysia primarily, right? Because 90% of our assets are still Malaysia. and that's what we'll do. Asset management business, under the next question, has increased PBT and AUM for 2020, but the profits are still small. What is our long-term strategy for asset management? Indeed, asset management is a core strategy for us as part of our wealth pillar. And asset management itself aspires to be investors' preferred leading fund house. From an RHB Bank perspective, out of the total unit trust funds that we distribute from the manufacturers, 60% come from RHB Asset Management. So indeed, it is a key thing. It may be small, but if you look at it in perspective, from 2015 to 2020, our asset management profit has gone from 33 million in 2015 to 70 million, so more than double in 5 years' time. Of course, we think we can do more, and indeed, that's what we're trying to do for the next few years. Under sustainability, next page, the question was, what is the total expenditure allocated in pursuing ESG activities? Yeah, from Mr. Lim Keng Ju, apologies. We spent about 4.8 million ringgit last year, and this covers many areas. One is, as I said, helping COVID-19 initiatives, helping the B40 and underserved segment, and also nurturing students for future generation, right? Because that's one key pillar that we have identified with respect to giving them scholarship, giving them tuition for SPM, and helping schools to do all these tuitions for the students. The next question is under sustainability framework. This is from PNB. How will these sustainability pillars help business growth? I must say that we want sustainability to be a core part of our business strategy, right? We shouldn't manage sustainability separate from our business strategy. That's why we're looking at growth primarily, right? Under the first pillar of sustainable financing and banking. And this, we have done many things. We have started financing solar power plant. In our asset management, for example, as I mentioned, we have actually launched 3 ESG funds, about 800 million, 900 million ringgit in AUM. Now, the point is that these are all driven by the need and requirement of investors and shareholders, right? So there is a demand. And when there is a demand, there is that business opportunity, and we will focus on those things. The next question is, what is RHB Bank's view on coal-related activity? Does the current loan portfolio consist coal? Yes, we still have about 1.48% of our portfolio in coal-related financing, especially for the power plants. We are mindful, right, that coal is still very important in providing the material for power plant and energy supply, not just in Malaysia but also in the region. But at the same time, we also recognize the urgency to transition to a low carbon economy. And as a financial services group, we believe that we also have a responsibility to play, for this agenda. Now, for that, moving forward from 2022, as part of our wider effort to align with our sustainability framework, we will focus on opportunities for clean energy and green financing, and we will not be pursuing or providing direct financing for any new coal-fired power plant projects. Our existing coal power portfolio will be phased out, throughout the years in exiting our current exposure. Moving on. How much of percentage derived from companies' revenue was allocated for community development? So if you look at revenue, it's only about 0.06%. The quantum I mentioned earlier is about 4.8 million ringgit. Moving on to the next one. Do we intend to lay off any staff in view of advancement technology? No, we don't. Our first priority is to train and upskill our people. We know that the skills will change. We need to educate our people to say that, you know, this is coming, and not just this is coming, and because of that, we want to help to upskill you, right? So our main priority now in the next few years to help upskill our people, as opposed to thinking about laying them off. Those were the questions we received before the AGM, Chairman. If I may, then I will start addressing questions that we received from the AGM today itself. Okay. Can we have the questions back on the screen? Provide a voucher to shareholders who attend RPB. RPB is... Okay. Request for time to go. I think we have mentioned earlier that, you know, we will not be providing any door gift to our shareholders for the AGM. That's the same thing as Q2. Q3, can we move it up? Moratorium has been provided to households and SMEs. Any plan to further extend the TRA since MCO, and what is the forecast expected that will impact the revenue of the company? We will continue with our repayment assistance post 30th June. We know that many borrowers will still require some form of assistance, you know, and we will continue to provide assistance to them. I think what is also important to note is that the regulator has also been supportive of banks with this regard, including providing that, you know, non-impairment, right, for R&R. It's difficult to forecast what's the impact on revenue, you know, but I think that the number will not be as much as what we saw in the beginning, you know, towards the end of last year and beginning this year. As I said, we have seen some good trend of our borrowers going back to their repayment behavior, but, you know, it's difficult to forecast the impact at this point in time. What is the dividend policy? What is company expect dividend payout for 2021? I did mention that we'll maintain our minimum dividend policy of 30%. You know, we will then, you know, see how much we can pay interim as well as final, as what we normally do. Any plan for a bonus issue to reward RHB Bank loyal investors? Just like PBB did, there's no plan for bonus issue. Maybe PBB did because their price was very high, close to 20 ringgit. So to enable more shareholders to participate, that's why they did a bonus of 1 for 5, if I'm not mistaken. But we don't have any plan to do bonus issue at this point. Question number 6: do you see Bank Negara cutting OPR again this year? You know, so far we think that there will not be any more cut of OPR. Economy, you know, has shown some recovery, even though it's a bit uneven. There is still, you know, whatever has been done, we think is facilitative enough. What Bank Negara needs to do is also make sure that, you know, there's parity of our interest rate compared to other markets, right? And otherwise, then, you know, we will not be attractive in attracting flows. But the long and short of it, we don't expect another OPR cut by end of the year. Does the company have any future plans? You know, that's a very broad question. For now, you know, we'll stick with our Fit 22 strategy initiatives. As I mentioned, we have made some adjustments because of pandemic where necessary, right? You know, so we will continue to do that. I've explained Q3, question 8 with respect to door gift. Q9, how much does the company spend on this virtual AM? I think we have explained that. Would the board kindly consider giving us e-wallet as a token of appreciation? I would like to request a printed hard copy. I think no issue about printed hard copy. I think you can just email to us, right? And we will provide you with the hard copy of the annual report. Q10, same question. I think it has been addressed. Q11, since this is second virtual AGM, I humbly request BOD to give 30 ringgit e-wallet. I guess our answer is the same as I have mentioned earlier. Q12 is the same. Q13 is the same as well. Q14, same, yeah. Q15, saddened by the board decision no dog give. No one has become poor by giving a recitable act. We take note of your comment, right? But, we will stick to our decision. Q16, regarding Citigroup's decision to exit consumer banking, is RHB interested to acquire any of it? It's a possibility, right? Many banks are looking at the possibility of buying this portfolio, so we don't mind having a look, but whether we buy it or not depends on, whether it fits into our retail strategy, and of course, the portfolio itself and the price at the end of the day. Q17 is the same. Q18, I think, is the same, right? Q19 is also the same. Q20, does the management foresee any impairment loss due to resurgence of COVID-19 cases and re-implementation of MCO this year? It's possible, right? Because the impairment may be not elevated because again we have got dispensation from the regulator not to have to impair what we restructure, right, or whatever assistance we give. But the provisioning can increase because when we restructure our retail loans, for example, we will have to classify them into stage 2. And under stage 2, then you have to provide for the lifetime ECL compared to only 12-month ECL under stage 1. So there is a possibility that provision will go up, but we think that impairment will not be going up as much given the dispensation given. Q21, can post all shareholders' queries instead of concentrate? Yes, we are posting all, and I'm going through it. I'm going through all one by one now. Q22, will RHB provide any wallet? I think we have answered that question. What is the current ratio of co-financing? 1.48%. Will RHB stop financing? We will stop from next year. What is the current progress of FIT22? I have updated earlier. Q24, Mr. Chairman, kindly provide your vouchers. Same question. Q26, board saving holding AGM. We should consider rewarding. I guess it's the same thing as well. Similarly with Q27, Q28, same thing. Yeah. Q29, same. Q30 also same. Q31 same. Q32 same. 33 as well. Q34, to go for the dividend investment is no doubt good, but may I suggest that company will absorb the 10 ringgit service activity? Okay. No, I don't think we can absorb the 10 ringgit revenue, right? I think we need to help the government also in this difficult environment. Q35, same question. Q36 has been addressed as well. 37 has been addressed. Q38, upload presentation slides to website as soon as possible. We will do that. Yeah. Q39, just thanking the shareholders are not enough. Show sincerity by giving us some vouchers. We take note of your comments, right? But we will, still, I guess, stick to our position. Q40, same. Q41, regards to DRP, I would like to request the revenue 10 ringgit for the DRP should be waived. We take note again, but we will not be able to do this. Yeah. Q42, Tricore as it user friendly and no need to check email. Oh. Okay, we will assess the post-mortem of the performance of our registrar, right, and see how we go from that. Kindly reconsider door gift, just like Maybank. Happy with Maybank. Yeah, I think it has been addressed. Dividends need to be increased. We'll take note of that, right? We'll take note. Could you address bank risks to the property sector, generally including mortgage loans and loans to developers and construction? Is this an area of concern? To be direct, this is not an area of concern, but we do manage the risk proactively. And of course, property has got so many subsectors, right? It's not just the residential, it will also cover office and shopping, etc. We are restrained in our risk appetite for properties for offices and shopping complex. Because we've seen demand, especially under the COVID-19, coming down for those types of property. But for housing, for residential, we think that there is still continued demand, right? Especially for first-time home buyers. And when we look at the sweet spot, so to speak, it will be the pricing between, say, 500,000 ringgit to 750,000 ringgit. People are prepared to downsize as long as the price is right, and that's where we are focusing on. Yeah, for that, that's why we are happy that our mortgage loan is the one that is growing fastest. We look at this profile in terms of first house buyers, second house buyers, etc. Right, and what type of property and the location of the property. Of course, our preference will be in the city centers such as Klang Valley, Penang, and JB. But we do also do mortgage business across the country, even in outside of urban area. Q46, can you send a hard copy as cannot request via boardroom? I think just send us an email and let us know, right? Or text to us, we will send to you the hard copy. RHB has strong CET1 and untapped FVOCI reserves. Any plan to return excess capital? We will return the capital in the form of dividend, right? And we will then evaluate the opportunity to pay the right amount of dividend at that particular time. Question 48, this year you will give us your loyal shareholders e-vouchers. These are hard times, appealing, to provide voucher. I think, again, we take note, we empathize with the situation, but we will not, still provide the voucher, unfortunately. Question 49, shareholders who live far away can now participate and get to understand the company. Can the virtual AGM option be provided even after pandemic? We will assess that opportunity. Question 50, hope this year the company will consider giving dog gifts. Okay, I believe again this has been addressed, Mr. T. You have another question here, hope this year. Okay, I've done that. I think we should delete question 51, not the others yet. I would like to obtain a printed copy of the annual report. Yes, again, let us know. We will provide you with a hard copy. Question 55, when can we expect audit firms to be rotated rather than engagement partners, as this is deemed one best corporate practices to ensure better independency? We as a shareholder are concerned the potential bad apples in the audit industry. We take note. I think here, whilst we have used the same firm, we have rotated the partners that are in charge themselves. And again, these firms and these partners, they are also supervised by Bank Negara. They need to get clearance from Bank Negara. So in a way, their credibility and quality are also being reviewed by Bank Negara. I think that's more important, as called their independence as well, is also being reviewed by the regulator. Question 56, will we rebrand our name as it no longer reflects the true meaning of the previous owner? as the major shareholders. We don't have any plan. Normally, people change name if there is an M&A, etc. But if we want to just change a name for the sake of changing, no. I think there's a good brand value in RHB. It may be associated with a person, but RHB itself has been, distinguished, as a good bank in Malaysia. The brand value has gone up last year to 1.4 billion, or the previous year from about 900 million ringgit or dollars. So indeed, there is a recognition that there's value to that brand. Question 57, how much investment allocated to strengthen cyber security topic due to ransomware? Indeed, we are putting some money there. We are not privy to disclose this, but rest assured, cybersecurity is high on our agenda. It's high on the regulators' agenda, right? And we are doing this, as a top priority. Will RHB review its current dividend policy? Can it be higher? I believe I've explained that. The new share trading website need to be improved to allow clients to buy, sell, odd lot online. Have a look. Okay, we take a look at it. Mr. Goh, thank you for your feedback. Mr. E, according to Bank Negara, Malaysia's household debt to GDP surged to 93%. To what extent will it impact the group residential mortgage and hire purchase? I think one thing to really put our eyes on here is on the level of employment or unemployment. As long as people are employed, we believe that this is not a major issue. Whilst the debt is high, with respect to mortgage and hire purchase, these are necessities, and people will normally not renege on the obligations that are necessary, right? So this is our response. Congratulations on RHB achievement. Thank you very much, Ms. Tan. Majority focus on domestic investment. Why not much on global? We have limited capital. Our total shareholders' funds is only about 23 billion ringgit. We cannot stretch that capital too much by going outside of the country so much. We think that at best we can go just in ASEAN, where we know the footprints better. To stretch our capital too much across the globe, I think we'll just be killed. That's not prudent. I think that's it. We have addressed all the questions, Chairman. I shall pass back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dato' Karusale. Thank you for all the questions, and if there are certain questions which have yet to be answered, we will revert later. So with that, the question and answer session is now closed. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now proceed with the agenda at hand. Agenda 1, the first item on the agenda is to receive the audited financial statement of the company for the financial year ended 31st December 2020, together with the Directors and Auditors Report thereon. Ladies and gentlemen, the audited financial statement, together with the Directors and Auditors Report thereon, for the financial year ended 31st December 2020, have accordingly been issued to you together with the notice convening this AGM. I presume that you have had the opportunity to peruse through the respective report. In accordance with Section 340, Subsection 1, Subsection A of the Companies Act 2016, the audited financial statement, together with the Directors and Auditors Report, are now laid before the meeting for discussion. However, as the formal approval of the members is not required for this agenda item, the matter is not put forward for voting. I wish to put on record that the audited financial statement of the company have been duly received by the shareholders and proxies, and we shall proceed to Ordinary Resolution 1. Agenda 2, Ordinary Resolution 1. Approval of the single tiers final dividend of 7.65 cents per share in respect of the finance year ended 31st December 2020. The item on the agenda is on the approval of a single tier final dividend of 7.65 cents per share in respect of the financial year ended 31st December 2020 under Ordinary Resolution 1. Agenda 3, Subsection 1, Ordinary Resolution 2. Re-election of Tan Sri Ong Leong Huat alias Wong Ju Hua pursuant to Clause 94 of the company's constitution. Pursuant to Clause 94 of the company's constitution, 1/3 of the directors shall retire every year and are eligible for re-election. Accordingly, Tan Sri Ong Leong Huat alias Wong Ju Hua shall retire pursuant to Clause 94 of the company's constitution and being eligible. Tan Sri has offered himself for re-election under Ordinary Resolution 2. Agenda 3, Subsection 2, Ordinary Resolution 3. Re-election of Ms. Ong Eileen pursuant to Clause 94 of the company's constitution. We will now proceed to Agenda 3, Subsection 2, which is also on the re-election of directors pursuant to Clause 94 of the company's constitution. Ms. Ong Eileen shall likewise retire pursuant to Clause 94 of the company constitution and being eligible. She has offered herself for re-election under Ordinary Resolution 2. Agenda 4, Subsection 1, Ordinary Resolution 4. Re-election of Tan Sri Ahmad Badri Muhammad Zahir pursuant to Clause 98 of the company's constitution. The next item on the agenda is on the re-election of director pursuant to Clause 98 of the company's constitution. Since I am the interested party for this agenda item, I would like to pass the chair to Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Dr. Rabika Fatimah Stamaria, being the Senior Independent Non-Executive Director of the company, to carry through this motion.
Gentlemen, pursuant to Clause 98 of the company's constitution, any director appointed either to fill a casual vacancy or as an addition to the existing directors shall hold office only until the next AGM and is eligible for re-election. Accordingly, Tan Sri Ahmad Badri Muhammad Zahir, who was appointed to the board on 16th of November 2020, shall retire under Clause 98 of the company's constitution at this AGM and, being eligible, has offered himself for re-election under Ordinary Resolution 4. So now I pass the chair back to Tan Sri Ahmad Badri to carry through the rest of the motions. Thank you, Tan Sri.
Thank you, Tan Sri Dr. Rabika. We now proceed to Agenda 4, Subsection 2, Ordinary Resolution 5, the re-election of Mr. Donald Joshua Jagannathan pursuant to Clause 98 of the company's constitution. Agenda 4, Subsection 2 is on another re-election of directors pursuant to Clause 98 of the company's constitution. Accordingly, Mr. Donald Joshua Jagannathan, who was appointed on the board on 14 August 2020, shall likewise retire under Clause 98 of the company's constitution at this AGM and being eligible. He has offered himself for re-election under Ordinary Resolution 5. We now proceed to the Agenda 4, Subsection 3, Ordinary Resolution 6, i.e. re-election of Dato' Ian John Low pursuant to Clause 98 of the company's constitution. Agenda 4, Subsection 3 is also on another re-election of directors pursuant to Clause 98 of the company's constitution. Accordingly, Dato' Ian John Low, who was appointed on the board on 9 September 2020, shall likewise retire under Clause 98 of the company's constitution at this AGM and being eligible. Dato' Ian has offered himself for re-election under Ordinary Resolution 6. Agenda 5, Ordinary Resolution 7, approval for payment of directors' fees and board committees allowances to the non-executive directors from the 55th AGM of the companies to the 56th AGM of the companies. Ladies and gentlemen, Agenda 5 is on Ordinary Resolution 7 relating to the approval of directors' fees and board committees allowances to the non-executive director from the 55th AGM of the company to the next 56th AGM of the company. In line with the current economic condition and as part of the RHB Banking Group initiative to exercise financial prudence in view of the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic to the group and its stakeholders, the board of RHB Bank had, on 1st April 2021, agreed on the voluntary 10% reduction of annual director fee payable to the non-executive director on prorated basis for a period of 6 months from the 55th AGM of the company, and thereafter the normal director's fees be paid for the remaining month until the 56th AGM of the company. For a period of 6 months from the 55th AGM of the company, the director fees are payable on a pro-rata basis of Ringgit Malaysia 157,500 per annum for each non-executive directors and RM 180,000 per annum for the chairman of the board. After the above 6-month period, until the 56th AGM of the company, the director's fees are payable on a prorated basis of the RM 175,000 per annum for each non-executive directors and 200,000 per annum for the chairman of the board. These fees are also prorated in according to the respective director's tenure of service during the financial year. Non-executive directors who sit on the board committee, such as Board Audit Committee, Board Nominating and Remuneration Committee, Board Risk Committee, and Board Credit Committee, are also entitled to receive board committees allowances on an annual basis. The above-mentioned board committees are centralized committees, the fee of which are shared by RHB Bank and its relevant subsidiaries. The board committees allowances are also prorated in accordance to the respective director's tenure of membership during the financial year. Agenda 6, Ordinary Resolution 8, Approval for payment of directors' remuneration, excluding directors' fee and board committee allowances, of an amount of up to RM 1.6 million to the non-executive directors from the 55th AGM of the company to the 56th AGM of the company. Ladies and gentlemen, Ordinary Resolution 8 is to approve the payment of directors' remuneration, excluding directors' fees and board committee allowances, of an amount up to RM 1.6 million to the non-executive director from the 55th AGM of the company to the next 56th AGM of the company. The above-mentioned directors' remuneration consists monthly fees allowances for chairman of the RHB Bank, meeting attendance allowances, farewell pot scheme, and other benefit. In determining the estimated total amount of remuneration, including directors' fees and board committee allowances for the non-executive director, the board consider various factors, including the number of scheduled meetings for the board and board committee, as well as the number of non-executive directors involved in this meeting. Agenda 7, Ordinary Resolution 9, Reappointment of Messrs. Pricewaterhousecoopers, PLT as auditors. We shall now proceed with the next item on the agenda of today's meeting, i.e. Ordinary Resolution 9, is on the appointment of Mrs. Pricewaterhousecoopers PLT as auditors of the company to hold office until the conclusion of the next 56th AGM of the company at a remuneration to be determined by the directors. Ladies and gentlemen, our retiring auditors, PwC, has expressed their willingness to continue office as auditors of the company. Agenda 8, Ordinary Resolution 10, Authority for Directors to issue and allot shares. The next item on the agenda is related to special business. Ordinary Resolution 10 is on the authorization for director to issue shares pursuant to Section 75 and 76 of the Companies Act 2016. Ordinary Resolution 10 is to renew the general mandate to the directors of the company to issue ordinary shares of the company from time to time pursuant to Section 75 and 76 of the Companies Act 2016. The resolution, if passed, will give power to the directors of the company to issue ordinary shares in the capital of the company, provided that the aggregate number of shares issued pursuant to this resolution does not exceed 10% of the total number of issued shares of the company for the time being, without having to convene a general meeting. The general mandate, unless revoked or varied at a general meeting, will expire at the conclusion of the next AGM of the company. The general mandate will enable the director to take swift action in case of, inter alia, a need for corporate exercises, or in the event business opportunity or other circumstances arise which involve the issue of new shares, and to avoid delay and cost in convening general meeting to approve such issues of shares. In any event, the exercise of the mandate is only to be undertaken if the board consider it to be in the best interest of the company. Agenda 9, Ordinary Resolution 11, Proposed DRP. Ladies and gentlemen, Agenda 9 is also related to special business. Ordinary Resolution 11 is on the proposed DRP that provides the shareholders of the company with an option to elect to reinvest their cash dividend into new ordinary shares of RHB Bank. Agenda 10, Ordinary Resolution 12, Allotment and Issuance of New RHB Bank Shares pursuant to the proposed DRP. Ladies and gentlemen, we move to the next agenda on the special business, i.e. Ordinary Resolution 12, which is subject to the passing of the earlier Ordinary Resolution 11. Ordinary Resolution 12 is on the authorization for director to allot and issue new RHB Bank shares pursuant to the proposed DRP in respect of dividend declared after this AGM. Such authority shall expire at the conclusion of the next AGM of the company. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have dealt with all the items on the agenda. And Encik Azman, are there any other matters for consideration at this meeting?
Imam Burgers and Chairman, there are no other matters, neither have received any notice on any other business to be transacted at this meeting. Therefore, there's none, Tan Sri.
Thank you very much, Encik Azman. Ladies and gentlemen, as all the resolutions have been tabled and there is no other business to be transacted at this meeting, we shall proceed with the conclusion of the voting session. Please cast your vote before the poll is closed in 10 minutes' time. For the benefit of the members, I wish to inform that I have been appointed to act as a proxy for a number of members, and I shall vote in accordance with the instruction given. Ladies and gentlemen, we shall now close the poll voting. Mrs. KPMG PLC, our scrutineers, will now verify the poll result and validate their report. An estimated time period of 15 minutes is reserved for this purpose.
Honey, I think I've made up my mind.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so excited! When can we move in?
Oh, not so soon, honey. We need to apply for a mortgage first.
Right. We need to go to the bank.
Wait, there's no need to go to the bank for that. We can apply using the RHB My Home app.
RHB My Home app, the convenient way to apply for your mortgage. All you need to do is download the app and follow these simple steps. Step 1. Fill in your information. Step 2. Take a snapshot of all the necessary documents and upload it via the app. Step 3. Submit your application. And you're done. You can check the status of your application directly on the app. Once everything is approved, we'll get in touch with you to give you the good news.
Wow! I never knew that applying for a mortgage would be so simple and easy.
RHB My Home app. Download yours today.
Ooh, taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up. The good life.
Dunia aku bakal berubah. Aku sentiasa rasa dihargai. Bukan mudah mencari sahabat sejati. Masa aku bersama kau, setiap gelak tawa, saat-saat kita bergembira adalah kenangan paling berharga buatku. Tapi hari itu takdir aku berubah. Walau aku tak mampu lagi mendengar, kau sentiasa di sisiku. Aku tak tahu apa di depan, tapi kau tunjukkan apa pun cabaran, adanya melodi harapan.
Yang ku rasakan telah tiada, kau kembalikannya kepadaku. Bahasa yang sukar ditutur kata, kau cahaya yang menerangi duniaku. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna.
Honey, I think I've made up my mind.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so excited! When can we move in?
Oh, not so soon, honey. We need to apply for a mortgage first.
Right. We need to go to the bank.
Wait, there's no need to go to the bank for that. We can apply using the RHB My Home app.
RHB My Home app, the convenient way to apply for your mortgage. All you need to do is download the app and follow these simple steps. Step 1. Fill in your information. Step 2. Take a snapshot of all the necessary documents and upload it via the app. Step 3. Submit your application. And you're done. You can check the status of your application directly on the app. Once everything is approved, we'll get in touch with you to give you the good news.
Wow! I never knew that applying for a mortgage would be so simple and easy.
RHB My Home app. Download yours today.
Taking the elevator, going up. I got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up, I'm coming up. The good life.
Dunia aku bakal berubah. Aku sentiasa rasa dihargai. Bukan mudah mencari sahabat sejati. Masa aku bersama kau, setiap gelak tawa, saat-saat kita bergembira adalah kenangan paling berharga buatku. Tapi, hari itu, takdir aku berubah. Walau aku tak mampu lagi mendengar, kau sentiasa di sisiku. Aku tak tahu apa di depan, tapi kau tunjukkan apa pun cabaran, adanya melodi harapan.
Yang ku rasakan telah tiada, kau kembalikannya kepadaku. Bahasa yang sukar ditutur kata, kau cahaya yang menerangi duniaku. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna.
Honey, I think I've made up my mind.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so excited! When can we move in?
Oh, not so soon, honey. We need to apply for a mortgage first.
Right. We need to go to the bank.
Wait, there's no need to go to the bank for that. We can apply using the RHB My Home app.
RHB My Home app, the convenient way to apply for your mortgage. All you need to do is download the app and follow these simple steps. Step 1. Fill in your information. Step 2. Take a snapshot of all the necessary documents and upload it via the app. Step 3. Submit your application. And you're done. You can check the status of your application directly on the app. Once everything is approved, we'll get in touch with you to give you the good news.
Wow! I never knew that applying for a mortgage would be so simple and easy.
RHB My Home app. Download yours today.
Taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up, I'm coming up. The good life.
Dunia aku bakal berubah. Aku sentiasa rasa dihargai. Bukan mudah mencari sahabat sejati. Masa aku bersama kau, setiap gelak tawa, saat-saat kita bergembira adalah kenangan paling berharga buatku. Tapi hari itu takdir aku berubah. Walau aku tak mampu lagi mendengar, kau sentiasa di sisiku. Aku tak tahu apa di depan, tapi kau tunjukkan apa pun cabaran, adanya melodi harapan.
Yang ku rasakan telah tiada, kau kembalikannya kepadaku. Bahasa yang sukar ditutur kata, kau cahaya yang menerangi duniaku. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna.
I think I've made up my mind.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so excited! When can we move in?
Oh, not so soon, honey. We need to apply for a mortgage first.
Right. We need to go to the bank.
Wait, there's no need to go to the bank for that. We can apply using the RHB My Home app.
RHB My Home app, the convenient way to apply for your mortgage. All you need to do is download the app and follow these simple steps. Step 1. Fill in your information. Step 2. Take a snapshot of all the necessary documents and upload it via the app. Step 3. Submit your application. And you're done. You can check the status of your application directly on the app. Once everything is approved, we'll get in touch with you to give you the good news.
Wow! I never knew that applying for a mortgage would be so simple and easy.
RHB My Home app. Download yours today.
I'm taking the elevator, going up. I got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up. The good life.
Dunia aku bakal berubah. Aku sentiasa rasa dihargai. Bukan mudah mencari sahabat sejati. Masa aku bersama kau, setiap gelak tawa, saat-saat kita bergembira adalah kenangan paling berharga buatku. Tapi hari itu takdir aku berubah. Walau aku tak mampu lagi mendengar, kau sentiasa di sisiku. Aku tak tahu apa di depan, tapi kau tunjukkan apa pun cabaran, adanya melodi harapan.
Yang ku rasakan telah tiada, kau kembalikannya kepadaku. Bahasa yang sukar ditutur kata, kau cahaya yang menerangi duniaku. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna.
Honey, I think I've made up my mind.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so excited! When can we move in?
Oh, not so soon, honey. We need to apply for a mortgage first.
Right. We need to go to the bank.
Wait, there's no need to go to the bank for that. We can apply using the RHB My Home app.
RHB My Home app, the convenient way to apply for your mortgage. All you need to do is download the app and follow these simple steps. Step 1. Fill in your information. Step 2. Take a snapshot of all the necessary documents and upload it via the app. Step 3. Submit your application. And you're done. You can check the status of your application directly on the app. Once everything is approved, we'll get in touch with you to give you the good news.
Wow! I never knew that applying for a mortgage would be so simple and easy.
RHB My Home app. Download yours today.
Taking the elevator, going up. Got a lot of ground to cover, and I'm in love with the good life. Can't give it up. Make it to the top, keep climbing. I wanna live it up. The good life. I'm coming up, I'm coming up. The good life.
Dunia aku bakal berubah. Aku sentiasa rasa dihargai. Bukan mudah mencari sahabat sejati. Masa aku bersama kau, setiap gelak tawa, saat-saat kita bergembira adalah kenangan paling berharga buatku. Tapi hari itu takdir aku berubah. Walau aku tak mampu lagi mendengar, kau sentiasa di sisiku. Aku tak tahu apa di depan, tapi kau tunjukkan apa pun cabaran, adanya melodi harapan.
Yang ku rasakan telah tiada, kau kembalikannya kepadaku. Bahasa yang sukar ditutur kata, kau cahaya yang menerangi duniaku. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna. Kau buktikan walaupun berbeza, kita sempurna. Kita sempurna.
I think I've made up my mind.
Yeah, me too.
I'm so excited! When can we move in?
Oh, not so soon, honey. We need to apply for a mortgage first.
Right. We need to go to the bank.
Wait, there's no need to go to the bank for that. We can apply using the RHB My Home app.
RHB My Home app, the convenient way to apply for your mortgage. All you need to do is download the app and follow these simple steps. Step 1. Fill in your information. Step 2. Take a snapshot of all the necessary documents and upload it via the app. Step 3. Submit your application. And you're done. You can check the status of your application directly on the app.
Ladies and gentlemen, the scrutineers have verified the pool result and validated their report. For Ordinary Resolution 1, i.e. approval of single tier final dividend, 3.2 billion shares, or about 99.91%, have voted in favor of the resolution, and about 3 million shares, or 0.09%, have voted against the resolution. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, I declare Ordinary Resolution 1 carried. For Ordinary Resolution 2, i.e. re-election of Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Ong Leong Huat alias Wong Ju Hua as the directors of the company, 3.2 million shares, or about 99.34%, have voted in favor of the resolution, and about 27.6 million shares, or about 0.66%, have voted against the resolution. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, I declare Ordinary Resolution 2 carried. For Ordinary Resolution 3, i.e. re-election of Ms. Ong Eileen as directors of the company, 3.2 billion shares, or 99.91%, have voted in favor of the resolution, and about 2.9 million shares, or 0.89%, have voted against the resolution. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, I declare Ordinary Resolution 2 carried. For Ordinary Resolution 4, i.e. re-election of Yang Berbahagia Tan Sri Ahmad Badri Muhammad Zahir as director of the company, 3.2 million shares, or about 99.6%, have voted in favor of the resolution, and about 13 million shares, or about 0.4%, have voted against the resolution. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, I declare Ordinary Resolution 4 carried. For Ordinary Resolution 5, i.e. re-election of Mr. Donald Joshua Jagannathan as a director of the company, 3.2 million shares, or about 99.91%, have voted in favor of the resolution, and about 2.9 million shares, or about 0.09%, have voted against the resolution. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, I declare Ordinary Resolution 5 carried. For Ordinary Resolution 6, i.e. re-election of Yang Berbahagia Dato' Ian John Low as directors of the company, 3.2 billion shares, or about 99.91%, have voted in favor of the resolution, and about 2.9 million shares, or about 0.09%, have voted against the resolution. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, I declare Ordinary Resolution 6 carried. For Ordinary Resolution 7, i.e. payment of directors' fees and board committees allowances to the non-executive director from the 55th AGM of the company to the 56th AGM of the company, about 3.2 billion shares, or about 99.99%, have voted in favor of the resolution, and about 237,000 shares, or about 0.01%, have voted against the resolution. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, I declare Ordinary Resolution 7 carried. For Ordinary Resolution 8, payment of directors' remuneration, excluding directors' fee and board committees allowances, of an amount of up to RM 1.6 million to the non-executive directors from the 55th AGM of the company to the 56th AGM of the company. About 3.2 billion shares, or 99.99%, have voted in favor of the resolution, and about 284,000 shares, or 0.01%, have voted against the resolution. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, I declare Ordinary Resolution 8 carried. For Ordinary Resolution 9, i.e. reappointment of PwC as auditors, 3.2 billion shares, or about 99.63%, have voted in favor of the resolution, and about 12 million shares, or about 0.37%, have voted against the resolution. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, I declare Ordinary Resolution 9 carried. For Ordinary Resolution 10, i.e. authority for directors to issue and allot shares, about 2.8 billion shares, or about 87.7%, have voted in favor of the resolution, and about 402 million shares, or 12.3%, have voted against the resolution. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, I declare Ordinary Resolution 10 carried. For Ordinary Resolution 11, i.e. proposed DRP, about 3.2 billion shares, or about 99.9%, have voted in favor of the resolution, and about 271,000 shares, or about 0.01%, have voted against the resolution. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, I declare Ordinary Resolution 11 carried. For Ordinary Resolution 12, allotment and issuance of new RHB Bank shares pursuant to the proposed DRP, about 3.2 billion shares, or about 99.9%, have voted in favor of the resolution, and about 274,000 shares, or about 0.1%, have voted against the resolution. Consequently, ladies and gentlemen, I declare Ordinary Resolution 12 carried. Ladies and gentlemen, as there is no other business to be transacted at this AGM, I now declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much for your support and participation. Stay healthy, stay safe, stay home until we meet again. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and thank you once again.